So hi. This is Catherine again, and I finished watching season 1 of Luke Cage, and I really liked it. So this one takes place in Harlem. So I've already done Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and all three of these are all sort of interlapping, and they all take place in New York City. Daredevil takes place in Hell's Kitchen. Can't remember where Jessica Jones is. And so this one, Luke Cage, takes place in Harlem. And so we now have one character, Claire Temple. Yeah, she has been in all three, I believe, and she's a nurse, so it's quite good. So the main character is Luke Cage. Now, he is an ex-con, and his name is actually Carl Lucas. He was sentenced to a prison called Seagate Prison for a crime that he actually did not commit. And he escapes by smashing through the walls because he has superpowers to smash through the wall. He has super strength, and he's bulletproof. So you have people firing guns at him left, right, and center, and he doesn't flinch. It doesn't hurt him at all. And so he's a superhero. And the only thing that can kill him is something called the Judas bullet. So his main adversary is actually his half-brother named Willis Stryker, who goes by the nickname Diamondback. So they're half-brothers. They have the same father. Their father was a preacher who had an affair with a woman named Diane Stryker, and that's how Willis was born. And then his wife gave birth to Carl 2 years later. And so there's quite a bit of conflict between these two brothers. They're almost sort of meant to be sort of like Cain and Abel type thing. And so Willis Stryker, he is a gun runner. He's always he has a Bible. He's always quoting the Bible, which is quite interesting. The religion and the Bible is brought up quite a bit in Luke Cage, so it's quite interesting. And so Willis Stryker, he is a psychopath. He will kill you just as easily as he will look at you. That's how ruthless he is. And so the other villain is Cornell Stokes. He goes by the nickname Cottonmouth. It never really explains how he gets the nickname Cottonmouth, but he hates this nickname. He absolutely hates it. And he is the owner of the Harlem Paradise, a high-end club. And he is another psychopath. He is another villain, and he is cousins with Mariah Dillard, who goes by the nickname Black Mariah. Everybody on this series seems to have a nickname that they go by. Everybody. It's quite funny. And she is a corrupt councilwoman for Harlem. Their grandmother was Mama Mabel. And she was infamous back in the 70s because she basically ruled over crime in Harlem. She ran a brothel. She ran a club. She was into all kinds of crime. Yeah, and she would also murder people for just because if they ever crossed her. And she actually forced her grandson, Cornell, to murder 2 people when he was young. And this was actually quite traumatizing for him. I find it... Here's the thing with villains. Villains are the way that villains don't just become the way they are for no reason. There's often because something like really awful happened to them, and they just couldn't deal with it. Like, yeah, if you see villains like that, they always have a really, really messed up backstory. And it's quite interesting how sometimes you actually wind up sympathizing with the villain even though they do bad things. And with Cornell Stokes, you do sort of sympathize with him even though he's a murderer and stuff like that. So, what do I think of Luke Cage? It is definitely worth watching. I quite enjoyed it, and I think you will too. Thank you.